We are live. What is up, folks? Welcome to Monday Night Live with my man Jonathan. Got Ron on the other end, just writing down a couple topics I wanted to touch on tonight. It's kind of just going to be a open forum, open discussion, questions, answers, fishing reports, gas prices, whatever. We are going to do a giveaway tonight, so I just write down a number. I didn't ask Ron for a number, so I'm just going to pick a number right now. Write it down right here. We'll be doing that later.
That's a good number. I like that number.
You like that number?
I do.
Yeah, you write it down too.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so we were just talking about, right before we went live, we were just talking about this weather change that's coming, and
well, it's here.
Well, it is here.
It is here. It's not coming. It's
spoiled.
It's here. It is with a vengeance today. I was down south today when all that flat ground, and that wind did not let up all day, and it was brutally cold.
Yeah, I got chilled. I was acclimated to I was acclimated to the cold weather. Then I got acclimated to the warm weather, and now
is it easier to get acclimated to the warm weather than it is the cold weather?
Oh yeah,
it only takes like 2 days of 60 degrees, and
yeah, I mean, like in the summertime, like that weather, that's
hard to get used to.
Yeah, that's tough.
Especially with your job. You're out there all day long, every day, and then do something crazy like go fish a Wednesday nighter in 100-degree heat after you've been doing it all day.
I don't know, man. I think I used to like the cold. If I had to choose between like really cold or really hot, I'd always go with cold. And now I'm like kind of on the fence. I'm thinking I don't like either.
The hot side, the older you get, I promise.
That's what I think's going on, man. It's a little bit tougher now than it used to be.
I've always been on the hot side of things. I'd much rather be 100 degrees outside than 30 any day of the week.
Dude, I'm with you 100%. And the
I'll
older I get, more it is that way.
What I always tell folks, because people look at me crazy when I say that, I've never lost any fingers or toes because I got too hot, but I've heard of people losing fingers or toes because they got too cold. So it's for me, I'm 100% summertime loving life. So
yeah, I agree.
Now with this weather that we had like the last couple of days, fishing kind of turned on a little bit, and the big ones got up shallow for me at least, and it was a fun day on Saturday for me. We'll get into that later. We'll get some shout outs here.
Yeah, see, we got Pole Bender in there from Arkansas, man. I think he's down there.
Back.
You're good.
Sure. Turn my TV off. Hold on. I'll be back.
I think he's down there from Norfolk, if I'm not mistaken. Pole Bender, where you? What's your home lake, man? Darius is in there.
Stephanie, John.
Darius told me we should have fished up by the dam in that Derby Saturday.
Was it?
Said his buddy caught a pretty good, like a 20+ pound bag up there the day before the tournament,
really?
A couple days before the tournament.
We got to get on that. You got to get on the Saturday pattern, because that Saturday pattern is completely different within the Monday through Friday pattern. So.
I know, it's crazy how that works.
Got Kevin, Sandra, Doug with Auto Trieve. Doug, I got my Auto Trieve installed on Saturday when I got back from the lake. I had to determine where I wanted it. I only had like a handful of spots.
Did you have to use it?
No, I put it on when I got back. So I haven't got a chance to use it yet. But with what I was fishing on Saturday, all I needed was just dip the rod in the lake if I had to. It was less than 4 foot.
We're always talking about this Auto Trieve, and this is what the Auto Trieve looks like. Doug sent us one of these, so while we're talking about it, we can actually show what it is. So this black part mounts underneath the deck of your boat. So all that's sticking up above the boat is this right here. And it's got 50 foot of 300-pound trout line on there. So you tie a lure retriever on there like a hound dog. Got a hound dog here too. Most people know what that looks like. But you got this hound dog lure retriever. Or you can put any kind of lure retriever you want on there.
We had that 44 mag.
The 44 mag. That's right. Phil sent that one. That sucker will knock anything off, I think. And I still need to tie that on. But anyway, so I think this is a 1/2-inch hole that you drill. This is a threaded bolt here. And this, like I said, this is all that's sticking up above your boat. And it is super, super, super handy because it's right there at your feet. All you do is just grab the hound dog, pop it on your line, slide it down, and it knocks the bait off. I think it knocks it off probably, I want to say like 90% of the time. I've lost a couple things, but I've literally, I think the first 3 trips it paid for itself. And right now he's offering, if you buy the auto Trieve mechanism, he throws in a free hound dog lure retriever. And man, I really am an advocate of this thing. I think people, I mean, we don't make any money off this, but I just think it's a really, really good product that I think everybody should have on your boat. Because
most of us have a lure retriever of some sort in the boat,
right?
And this is no different than any other lure retriever, except for you don't have the mess. And that was my biggest problem. That was why I wanted an auto Trieve. It was that mess that was on the floor. It'd get wrapped around your reel handle. It'd get wrapped in the crankbait that's laying on the deck of the boat. Now you're trying to figure out how to get the line out, and the wind's blowing you off the spot, and you're saying some choice 4-letter words, and
it's handy. It's super handy. And so the special part of it is, like I said earlier, this is mounted underneath the deck of your boat, but this is a retractable. So once you retrieve your lure, you just kind of take it off and hold it, and it goes right back. And this is all that's sitting on the deck of your boat. It's super handy. So
you got like a 1 inch by 1/2 inch knuckle, if you will. This piece right here sitting on top of your boat. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that's exposed. So
the hardest part's drilling a hole in your boat. That's the hardest part. But I don't know. It wasn't that big deal for us. We're drilling holes in our aluminum boats.
I don't know if I had a glass boat, it'd be a little more difficult. But there's some guys that just don't care.
Yeah.
What's that?
For a John boat, it's no biggie.
No.
Yeah. And honestly, even on a glass boat, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because you're putting such a small hole in the front deck. I mean, I'm really OCD, but so on the front of my deck, it comes up so close to my trolling motor pan. I had to come back so far, and I stand right next to my trolling motor pedal a lot of times. I didn't want to be kicking that the apparatus that sticks up, because a lot of times I wear flip flops in the summertime, and I know I'll wrap a hill around.
Yeah, right.
I'll say more choice.
Yeah, you just got to figure out where you want it at.
But other than that, I mean, I think I was done in, besides a drill battery going out on me, I was done in 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's super simple. You can take like the trolling motor, the recessed foot pedal pan out, and then you'll have some room underneath your deck of your boat to kind of look and see if it'll fit somewhere. But Doug is we're going to do a giveaway, not tonight with this auto Trieve, but sometime down the road pretty soon. We are going to give one of these away. And Doug has offered a free trip on Wappapello or Clearwater for the winner to demonstrate how the auto Trieve works. And I'm sure he'll take you out and put you on a few fish. If you're close enough to one of those lakes, he'll take you up on that, or you can take him up on that offer. But regardless, you will win one of these, and I know you'll be happy with it. It's it's really cool. I wish I would have got one of these a long time ago. Everybody's got their favorite baits, favorite crankbaits, wigglewort, some of that custom painted stuff, super expensive. And, you don't have to worry about that. It's going to come off. Like I said, 90% of the stuff comes off. And usually the stuff that doesn't come off, from what I found, is it's like wedged down inside of a rock, and that hound dog can't actually get to the bait to pop it off. Or a really spongy brush pile or lay down. Sometimes it's hard for it to get, enough.
Fishing line's another one.
But sometimes you can wrap that hound dog on the fishing line and actually break the fishing line and pull that all up. I pulled up part of a trout line the other day. Luckily I got my new favorite spinner
on it. Wind blows you around and you snap your line. Couple things. Stephanie says, we can barely hear you. Turn your volume up maybe on your device. I don't know if that's.
Is that any better if I just talk like this?
That's worse on our end. You guys tell us out there.
We got Big Mike from Washington, D.C., man. Good to see you on here. David Gill, what's up, man?
pole benders from Bull Shoals.
Bull Shows.
And it's cheap.
Man, Bull Shows is beautiful. I want to get back down there.
DJ, William Hillier, David Gill, Tom Minks, see Tom.
Andy's got a Livescope question.
Uh-oh. What we got? What version of you guys like debating whether
yeah, Andy says, what version are you guys running on your Livescope? Waiting on whether to try it before updating anything. I did the update, and you know, I had to change my settings a little bit, and I'm pretty new to the Livescope. I've had it out probably 6, maybe 7 times, but you can turn that color gain thing down quite a bit. And I don't know. I think if you're happy with the picture that you have right now, stay with it. If you want to just do some experimentation, try it. I don't know. There's been a lot of people whining about it, and at first I was like, I shouldn't have done that, but I've messed with it and kind of got my settings to where I think my picture is pretty good. And I haven't done any Livescope video stuff yet, and I plan on it when I get the right day when there's not a bunch of wind blowing stuff. I can kind of break down what I've learned and, you know, what my thoughts are on Livescope and stuff. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. I mean, from what I've been hearing, you know, if you like what you got, stay with it. If you want to try something different, do the update. But the color can get blown out if you adjust that color. I guess it's called the color gain. It does get blown out.
That's different from the gain. Yep.
Right. It's totally different. And I can't remember my settings. I think I've been running my gain around 70, 72, something like that. And then my color gain, I've had it pulled down around 40, I think. Ghost is run on low, noise reduction, I think low. But I'm going to do a video here sometime in the next couple weeks and just talk about, you know, that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool just to see all those fish out there swimming around.
We may need to do like a side-by-side comparison. Like you go fishing with me one day, I go fishing with you one day. And kind of, because I haven't, so to answer your question, Andy, I have not done the update. So we kind of determined that one of us will do it and one of us won't, and we'll compare notes. And I guess if
Darius is saying we had a bad connection.
If I like it. Is it getting better, guys?
Video weak.
Okay.
Well, we'll keep rolling.
Can you hear me any better?
I can hear you pretty good now.
I flipped my iPad around. I wonder if it was sitting on the mic thing. I don't know.
Yeah, Andy's mentioning that's the 44 mag at Phil Crowfoot. By the way, he fished down there Saturday at Kentucky. I saw his name in the standings there. See if we can see any questions up there. I got to buy one of those a little bit. I got a pretty good router, but I think I need to buy one that like a meshing system where it puts that signal down here too.
I'm going to run over here and see what it looks like on our side.
Okay.
I noticed today's topic matter included the price of gas and UFOs.
Yes. Price of gas. Geez. It jumped from $3.19. I saw $3.89 over here in, I think, 3 days. It was just, It shot up to $3.59. Then the next day it was like $3.89. And that's,
that's terrible. I've been trying to put non-ethanol gas in my boat. And that little, I still call it Kentucky, little gas station down from me still sells it. That was $5.50 a gallon the other day.
$5.50?
Put it $5.50. I put in $50. I got a quarter of a tank.
Holy moly!
Someone's like, "Oh, good Lord!"
It's awful. It's awful.
The way I look at it is, we all remember that it was like that in 2008. So
yeah, well, it was. It didn't stay that way too long, but it was.
I remember because I had the week the gas prices hit $4, I had just bought my new truck. and it was a 1500 Dodge that got a whopping like 11 miles a gallon. So, and I had a 32 gallon tank. The first time I went to fill it up, it stopped at 100. I was like, man, that's really weird. It stopped right on 100. Huh? It must be my lucky day or something. I got in the truck and it was only 3/4 of the way full. And I was like, something's wrong with the gas tank. And then went like a couple of days and drove and put gas in it again when it had like a half tank, and it didn't shut off that time, but it finally went all the way full. I was like, well, good Lord, I didn't even fill it up the last time for $100. So I never had a truck before that would shut off a gas pump. So
the thing too is a lot of us just use your debit card, you know, and a lot of times there's a limit on your debit card just for your own protection, you know, so someone, you know, in case someone gets your info, they don't steal you blind. And the bank's going to have to raise the limit on that debit card so that you can fill up.
Yeah,
that's right.
You know, I can't. The day I have to fill up my truck and my boat on the same morning. Oh, good Lord!
Looking at $500 just to fill it all up.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I have to have a loan guy inside the gas station. Huh?
Fortunately, Egypt's not that big, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's one good thing. It's doesn't take much gas to get down to the boat ramp. So, it is what it is, and you know, I'm not going to quit fishing because of it. But might fish the John boat a little bit more.
I was going to say, just put the John boat in a little bit more.
Yeah, old 3-gallon gas tank looks pretty good.
That's what somebody made a comment a while ago on our Facebook page, and it's like that 3 gallons of gas in the John boat.
Turn this light off.
Makes it this one over here.
Yeah. Turn it off.
That makes it a lot easier to go fishing.
Yeah, it does. I can, and as you guys know, you can fish all day on that in John boat. So.
I can almost fish 2 days if I push it.
Really?
And if I stay close, and I'm not scanning a lot.
Yeah.
So, like this weekend, I was on the trolling motor more than anything. So.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
It is covering water.
We should do that. I've talked about that pole bender, offering a fishing trip as a giveaway. I just wrote that down. Maybe that's something we'll do here in the spring.
Should be a good idea.
Yeah, it's a great way to meet some of the people that are on here all the time. I feel like we know most of these people, but I can't remember who I was talking to the other day. I was talking to Aaron Wetzel, and he just reminded me that we'd never met. And I've talked to him before and messaged him before, and I just forget that it's like
you know all these people.
Know all these guys, but they're folks on here, but we just haven't met them. It's interesting.
You could have a 10-horse Monty fishing day where everyone meets at the boat ramp and everyone goes.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
It would be. It would be.
Would we have to get a permit for that?
I tell you what, me and my buddies used to do, and it was a blast. We would all get together early every spring, and there'd be like 15 or 20 of us. One year, we even rented out the Blue Heron club room or whatever it's called for 6 or 7 hours. Come back, clean them, and have a big fish fry that afternoon or evening. That was a blast. That was a fun way to kick off the season.
That would be fun.
Where did you do that at? What lake?
We've done it at Cedar, and we've done it at Crab Orchard. Yeah. Okay. It's a lot of fun. It really is. You sit there and you eat your crappie and tell fishing stories at the boat ramp, and just a good way to get together.
Phil caught that line burner. Hey man, that's good points. Line burners are good points. Tough tournament. I'll have that video out Friday. A pretty good video coming out Wednesday, showcasing a new spinner bait that June Shoji sent me from Dream Express Lures.
That one he was showing. Yeah,
it's got a We'll have that out Wednesday. That was a pretty fun day. Logan, no, I haven't been to Clearwater, but Doug was telling me, I think it was Doug who was telling me, maybe it was Ricky Oric was saying that it's still like super high. And with all this rain, we got a ton of rain last night. I didn't think we got that much rain. I woke up and the lake was up another foot overnight. It's been unbelievable. So Clearwater's blowing out, I'm sure. And I think they have a tournament down there Saturday. I think Doug's on here. He would know.
That'll be interesting.
Oof. 459 in Collinsville.
469 in Chicago
469.
suburbs.
I can't imagine what I need to text my sister and see what gas prices are out there. She lives out in Pasadena, California, and it's always stupid out there.
What do you think that'll do for the fishing industry if it stays that way a while?
That's what I was wondering.
The boat market down?
Where's that cutoff where people stop fishing tournaments and people stop going out there?
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's pretty close. I mean, there's some people really thinking heavily about it.
I mean, you're not, if you go and you get in the check line and make $500, you've lost money.
Yep. I
mean, that's just the reality of it. I mean, you're not really making any money before anyway, but now it's really, I don't have the wife at home anymore, but I can just imagine that conversation. It's a real one at home. Say, hey, what are you doing? And it's, I got that trip to the Classic down at Grand in a month, and the price of that just went up. God knows how much, just getting there and getting back and putting gas in the boat.
That's a good point.
Everybody's just going to drop the trolling motor, start fishing. Yeah. If you're doing yeah, 2 or 3 days of pre-fishing, the drive down there, lodging, it's going to affect everything. It's going to just cause the food prices to go up too. I mean, anything that's hauled across the country with truckers, you can expect those prices to go up, and grocery prices are already gone up quite a bit.
Well, look at the building materials. I mean, they're already high.
Yep.
It takes gas to get all that stuff across this country. And everything's going to go up. Building, food.
Yep. Starting out negative, man. But good old Putin, man. Good old Putin. That guy.
Let's not get into politics.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole yet.
No, that's like after
I started it. I'm sorry.
But no, I think at least to the point of where's the break even point. I don't know for us fish heads if there is a break even point.
No, because you're gonna go.
I'm still gonna go to the lake. Now maybe I buy a little less tackle. Maybe I save a little bit more money by building a few more jigs this year. But we're all going to find a way. I mean, look at electronics prices. That hasn't slowed any of us down from buying electronics.
Yeah.
So we're still going to put gas in our boats and go. So
you're right, 100%.
But I am glad that I have a 10 boat that I can. For one, it's fuel economic on the truck, as well as fishing all day.
Yeah, it's easier to pull.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Big difference. Yeah, Dennis, he says, are you going to do the fishing reports on Thursday like we used to? We might do a couple of those. We're going to definitely try to keep Ron on here like once a month or something, because he's got, a lot of good reports over on that side of the river, being on Egypt and stuff. I just texted my sister about gas prices in Pasadena, and she's hasn't got back with me yet. But
$6.95 in LA.
Yep, there you go.
Good Lord Almighty,
that's unbelievable.
Those poor Western anglers.
Well, and their lakes aren't close.
No.
We think they're everything west is all just right there centrally located, but we complain about a 4-hour drive or a 2-hour drive. They have an 8-hour drive to get from lake to lake. So
if we can get up to 80, if we can get 80 people on here tonight, we're going to do a heck of a giveaway. We've been sitting on this giveaway for a minute. It's from Jeff Moon Body Shop. The last one, he donated a bunch of tackle for giveaways. He's in DeSoto, Illinois. If we can get up there at 80, we're going to do this giveaway. So make sure you share this stream. Let's try to get that up there around 80.
We're close right now.
We're close. It's climbing. Doug says Clearwater's 14 feet high and coming up. Yeah, it's probably
Wow.
another 5-6 foot.
It's crazy how that lake fluctuates.
What Stephanie was asking about
I think
Cedar.
I think we all three can answer this question. Anyone know how Cedar Lake looks?
We
Assuming
were all there this weekend. All
pretty
three of us.
dirty. I didn't make it past Carbondale, so you tell me if North End's.
I didn't either. I put in at Pomona. I just stayed down on that end of the lake. It's dirty, and that was before the rain yesterday.
Yeah. So I had heard from a friend of mine that was over there. He ran north, and he found some water that he felt comfortable throwing a jerkbait in. So it was a heck of a lot clearer than it was down on the south end. So
okay,
but probably what
that.
6-8 inches of visibility
on the south end.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you could tell. Of course, I haven't been down there because I've been over at Egypt. So yesterday was my first day down there in a week or 10 days or something. It looked like it was starting to try and clear up. Like you get behind that weed line and it was starting to get clear. And, but that's all for not now.
Yeah, it's back to dirty again.
Yeah, it's dirty. But the fish the fish that are up there aren't going to go anywhere.
There was definitely a hard line midway back in I call it the East Arm, but I guess was it Clay?
Yeah.
About halfway back where it really narrows down, you could see a mud line that came in, and
Did you go all the way to the back? Had it started to clear in the back yet?
I just went to the splitter, and it was dirty at the splitter point there. So, but in front of that, you could see like patches, like you said. You'd go in one pocket and it'd be semi clearing, and then you'd go to the next one and it looked like it was just a mud hole. So,
yeah, I talked to Adam yesterday, and he fished up north on Saturday. He had said the same thing. It was probably 3 foot visibility up there. So
that's not bad.
No, that's definitely jerkbait. It's clear enough to throw a jerkbait for sure. But yeah, it's gonna stay muddy for at least another month. As far as the pattern and what's going on over there, I mean, from what I've heard, it's a good idea to be fishing pretty shallow. I didn't have much luck when I was over there because I took 12 rods and I probably spent 30 minutes on each one. That was my problem. I should have just put my head down and stayed. Boy. I know, man. I'm
you know
bad.
What they're doing over there. You've been over there enough. You know what they're doing.
I know, man. I get tired of catching them the same way though. I threw a trap for quite a while. Just threw a red trap. It was actually a striking red eye. Threw that for a while. Never got bit on that. Threw the chatterbait for a while. Had a couple bite the trailer off. A couple grab it, and I swung and missed on them. I flipped a little speed crawl. I did catch fish on that. Jerk bait a little bit. What else did I throw? A jig quite a bit. I didn't take a shaky head rod. I threw the big glide bait that June sent us. The glider. I threw that thing around. That thing's gonna be
deadly.
It looks so nasty in the water, man. It's got that bill, and it's just got that. It looks good, man. It looks good.
I'm gonna experiment a lot with them, with all of them this spring and summer, because I've invested in a handful of them now. So I'm gonna not just Junes, but I'm still scared to throw Junes. So
I put fresh 20-pound Seagar on, and I had to take the braid off my frog rod, and I put some of that 20-pound fluoro on there because that's really the only rod that I have that can handle it pretty well, because it's 2.5 ounces. And that rod's just rated for 2 ounces, but you can load those rods up more than what
as long as you're not whipping it.
Yeah, as long as you're not, and you just kind of lob that thing. The only thing I did is I took a Spro, like 130-pound swivel on there and put it on the split ring just to keep the line twist down.
Okay.
I had
what water temperature are you guys finding over there?
On which unit, Lowrance or Garmin?
On Lowrance. I'm just curious. Mine always reads about 1 degree high. My Lowrance does.
Compared to
just compared to seems like everyone else I talked to.
Okay. Yeah, my Lowrance was like 1.5 to 2 degrees higher than my
Garmin.
Yeah, that seems common. As long as it's consistent. I was like anywhere from 50 basically to, if you got in a warm pocket, I saw like 56 a few times in a warm pocket where that wind was pushing it in.
I had the same
pace.
deal on Saturday, but Saturday I went from anywhere from like 47, 48, and some 45s depending on where I was at, all the way up to 54. So I saw a big temperatures change, but every time that I saw anything 51, 52 plus, it was in the back of a wind-blown pocket.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Yep.
Sounds like it warmed up a little bit Saturday afternoon into Sunday. And then we got
a lot of that was windy. I fished Angler's Choice on Saturday at Egypt, and morning was calm, but the afternoon was windier than a by God, so that water really got mixed up, which probably helps, pushes some of that warm water down. It's $1.70 in Russia. Who wrote that?
I had to throw that up there for just a second. Anybody have a problem with that? It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
No, kind of back to the fishing report at Cedar, at least, though. Anything for me on Saturday, anything flipping and shallow, I was getting bit on. So I ended up having one just over 5 and 4 3/4, couple slots, couple shorts. Nothing really to write home about, but like we were talking beforehand, I was playing with my Livescope. He was fishing with too many rods, and I was playing with my Livescope when it was dirty water. And finally, after about an hour playing with it, I was like, you know what? This is ended up turning it off and running down the bank. So
yeah, that's that time of year you don't need it as bad, but it's fun to play with. It was basically, I didn't mess with anything. That dirty water, I stayed shallow, and if they're not there, that's where they're going. It's that time of year. I always try to, no matter the season, I always try to get ahead of the fish. Hey, June. Try to get ahead of the fish. So in the spring, I don't want to be behind them. I want to be in front of them. And then that really dirty water, I think you're chasing your tail a little bit if you're out too deep.
Yeah, I think if you're deeper than 5 or 6 feet when it's muddy like that, you might as well not even go to the lake. If that's what it is.
Yeah, on Cedar for sure.
Scott says Kincaid and Pyramid are both dirty. So last week,
Pyramid was dirty. I
had a buddy at Kincaid yesterday. I haven't talked to him. He called me and asked me if I wanted to go, and I told him that storm was going to roll in, and I was going to stay home with the family on Sunday. And by golly, I was wrong, because that storm didn't roll in until later on in the afternoon. So,
hey, Hellabass.
Pole Bender.
I bet old Hellabass is ready for that ice to melt.
Oh man, it's driving him nuts. There you go, DJ. He's one of the. Did you get the new transducer with it?
I don't know
if they're releasing those.
I don't think it's available yet.
I think they're pre-order.
Yeah.
I think they're 5 to 8 weeks out.
I would have probably waited a little bit, personally, just because.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there a price difference in the new one versus the old one?
It's $16.99. I think that's the same price for the black box and the transducer. I think the transducer is $1,100 by itself. So if you have the black box, you can just swap it out. But I'm good with what I got for now. It's all new to me.
It's still.
I've got to learn mine before I worry about a new one.
It's the shiny new toy for me right now. So
yeah, we got 73 on here. You hit
We're
80.
Getting close.
We hit 80. We're gonna do that big giveaway. I tell you what is really cool, Ron. I don't want to get off on a Livescope tangent, because I do want to touch on the Bassmaster Classic, and then I want to touch on some of the Tackle Warehouse Bassmaster release stuff. But finding brush piles and casting into the brush piles, and you see your bait like a jig land, and then as soon as you go to pull up, you feel the wood. That's really cool. I think that's really going to save a lot of time on those summer tournaments at Cedar when it's an offshore deal and you're trying to just fish small isolated targets. I'm excited about that. I mean, I was just out there playing around with that, trying to get better at it. And, you know, in 20 foot of water and about 40 foot away, 30 to 40 foot away, you can cast that jig out there, and it's like shooting a free throw. I mean, you can just launch it out there and it just goes right into the net and you can see it. And then as soon as you pull up, it's heavy. You know,
I like that analogy. I really do.
Yeah. It is like shooting some hoops out
My
there.
biggest problem that I've found with, granted, I've only had it out a handful of times, is I was never a drummer or a musician. So my feet and my hands and my eyes and everything don't work together. So I'm staring at the screen doing this, seeing my bait. And if one eats it, I have not a clue because I'm just sitting there shaking it just so I can see it. So I'm going to have that, like, make sure that I'm not watching the screen and still feeling for bites. And
yeah, I think once you make that cast and you see it go into the brush pile, and then you feel it, you don't even need to look at it anymore, in my opinion. If you see fish there, now if you're jerk bait or whatever, that's different. You can watch them come up to and see what they're doing, but it's great for just finding stuff. Perspective mode. You bought the perspective mount. Do you have any plans on using it? Or?
I do. I talked to Mr. Auto Trieve the other day, and I think he convinced me to put it on there. So that is going to be installed this week, and we're going to hopefully find more shallow water fish. So,
yeah, Andy's got a good point. 5 to 8 weeks actually means 6 months. Yeah. That's how the hummingbird thing was. Remember, they just kept pushing that back and pushing that back.
Could be. I'll tell you another thing on that forward-facing sonar that I've really, really learned to appreciate. Now that all of our lakes have weeds, being able to see that weed edge out in front of you makes such a huge difference if you're working a jerkbait on the outside of the weeds or any lure. Or working a deep chatterbait on the deep weed line, being able to turn that and see exactly where that weed line meanders is really, really helped me. And a lot of times I don't see the fish in the weeds, but you'll be bringing your bait and you see the fish come up out of the weeds and come up underneath your bait. That's really, really been a good tool for me.
What's your thoughts on snow in the spring and the fish biting? Have you had success with that?
They bite in the snow. Don't ask me why.
I've experienced it, and it's awesome.
It's I don't know. I don't know what the bass think it's candy, or I don't know what's going on. But when it snows, 99 times out of 100, they bite.
It's that barometric pressure change, probably, I guess.
Probably, I guess. Yeah, if you can stand to be out there. Let's hope it doesn't snow Friday, though.
I know. I got a BFL in Lake of the Ozarks Saturday, and it could be 2 to 4 inches down there. Yeah, it's supposed to be 16 degrees in the morning. I don't know if they're going to have it or not. Yeah, it's dangerous.
It's supposed to be 50 on Sunday is the crazy thing.
I know.
Yeah. It's that time of year.
I mean, I agree with you guys, Brad and Ron, that, yeah, fishing in the snow can be really, really, really good, but it's also really, really dangerous too.
You got to be careful.
We forget that the last time that I fished in a big snowstorm, I was on Egypt, and I could barely see the motor on the back of my 15-foot boat. It was snowing that hard, and I heard somebody running. And that was a pucker moment right there, because you're just a target out there. I snugged up to that bank to make sure I was out of anybody's way, and I couldn't believe anybody was running in that. So, but you got that, and I mean, that snow usually in the spring like that turns to ice really quick on your front deck.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Yeah, wear your life jacket.
100%.
Wear your life jacket.
Stay alive.
Nothing embarrassing about it. Nothing embarrassing about living.
Nope. If you want to fish tomorrow, keep that life jacket on.
Yeah, keep people that love you at home wear that life jacket.
That's good to hear, Tom. Tom said he was fishing the Cumberland Pro weedless Ned head, and it was coming through brush as advertised. So that's awesome, man.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, DJ. Lake of the Ozarks is notorious for that fall snow buzzbait bite. That lake's
I caught him. We
special
caught him
lake.
in the spring on a spook in the snow. They came up schooling. That was when it was also warm water at Egypt, though, too.
Did you see that video? It was a couple 3 weeks ago where somebody was. They said they were on Wapapello and the water temp was 37 degrees and they were catching them on a pop bar.
I didn't see that
I
one.
didn't see that. I don't know if Doug knows anything about that, but yeah, they had a limit, man, and they swore. I mean, I think there was pictures of fish with popper in their mouth. 37-degree water temps. Sunny day, the fish were just up super shallow, and obviously when they're up there that shallow, they're up there to eat. You put something right above them, they'll come up and suck it down. Interesting.
You want to get down to this tackle warehouse?
Yeah, let's pull it up. I'll let you run it. So,
all right,
we're gonna go through the Bassmaster Classic. Obviously, a lot of people on here, I'm sure, watched it. Congratulations to Jason Christie. Long time coming. I was happy to see that happen. He deserved it.
Third time's the charm to go out leading on the last day.
And they had a lot of classic release stuff. So we were just gonna.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Ron.
No, I was just gonna say I was happy to see him win, and especially after coming back from the other circuit, and I think he accomplished what he wanted to.
And it was so close. It was so close.
Yeah, we talked about that last night. That weigh-in was the weigh-in of a fan's dream, because it wasn't, I hate to say it, but Stetson wasn't sitting in the hot seat for 20 minutes and then walks away as a winner. It was down to the final two, and they were neck and neck. I mean, it was, and when Jason walked up with that bag, I mean, you could see that it was a good bag of fish, but it was still kind of like, I don't know.
It was close. Yeah,
it was
close.
Yeah, and they got those bags on stage super quick.
Yeah, they did.
They soaked them up real good, juiced them up, and ran. Especially Welger. He was trying to get every little ounce of water in that in the weigh scale. Don't blame him.
Yeah. Let's see if I can do this here.
Yeah, so this is the.
You can see that, right, Ron?
Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Perfect.
This is some of the new items released during the classic debuts. And I saw Debo the other night went through this, and I thought this is kind of a good idea, just to go through and kind of look at all the new stuff that's out there, because we all like new stuff.
New and shiny.
New and shiny.
You know the one that I'm most excited about? The Owner Haymaker. It's like I don't know, I haven't read all the details on it, but it's like the combination between a flipping hook and a EWG hook. And
I like that a lot.
It looks nasty. I'm going to order some tonight when we get off here.
Go to the read more part of it again.
Yeah, they'll come through you won't have to bend that hook at all.
No.
Like on a creature baiter. You know what I mean?
It's going to be good for punching. You like to punch with an EWG anyway, right?
I do punch with an EWG, yep.
So you got how many are in the 4-aught?
4.
Okay. 4, 3-aughts 5.
So
what's the price on that thing?
It's not terrible. So it's
$1.50 a hook, basically, maybe a little more.
Yeah. The one thing that I love, the fact that the owners have that needlepoint hook on them, but it's kind of a blessing and a curse, because if you run her into a rock or a big log, it kind of bends that needlepoint out. So what else do we have here?
That's a nice hook. I'll definitely be ordering a couple of those.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one. So obviously Garmin Livescope Plus announced at.
There's the LVS 34, $11.99.
Announced that at the Classic. Let's go to the top here.
Some new reels from 13 Fishing.
Good price point too.
Mm-hmm. That $99 price point, right around that $100 price point.
So that's a very affordable, easy to get into. Now, I don't have much experience with 13 or any of their products, so I don't have much to say on those.
Anybody out there throwing any 13 Fishing stuff? If so, what's your thoughts on them? See, Abu.
Is that who Swindle's with now?
It is. It is.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting when he made that move. You know, he talked about staying with the companies he was with and being one of 100 people and not having much influence over the company, or going with somebody like 13 Fishing where he could have more of an influence and kind of help the company grow and be a part of their growth. So I like that. It's a great idea. Makes sense. I'm sure he got a little coinage too.
You know, and I'll kind of to that on the 13 Fishing, not to no shameless plug here, but you know, with Gerald, I think it was the fact that he can work with a necessarily a smaller company, but I guess it was last fall, he had put a video out that he had broke, I don't know how many rods from 13 Fishing, and said, you guys will never see this rod because it wasn't right. And he won't put his name on something that until that rod is right. So I respect him for saying, hey, we screwed up. It wasn't right, but we're going to make it better. Come down the line.
That's the way it should be.
Exactly. We spend a lot of money on tackle, and we don't want it to fail.
Yep.
So it's like Abu Garcia's got some new juice out.
Yeah, some higher end reels.
It's probably a little
swim jig down there.
I do too.
Some arc fishing.
That is a pretty swim jig, isn't it?
It's pretty.
Should we click on it?
Click on it. Let's check it out. Team Arky.
That'll work right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's got that kind of flat head on it. Line tie looks good.
I like that straight line tie, that where the pull point's at.
Yep.
It just drives it right in, especially on a swim jig.
Comes through grass a little better too.
Yes, sir. Some good colors. Some pretty colors.
I like that GP shad, the green pumpkin shad. That looks good. Chartreuse shad.
Orange crawl looks good. Looks like those will be available later on in the summer.
I'm going to have to go get some more pegboard.
Beast
chatter shad. Pull up that chatter shad. That's interesting.
It's like three fish heads just looking at Tackle Warehouse all together. This is Can we put this on your credit card, or you want to put it on my credit card?
I like that. 4.5 inch. That's good looking bait.
I do.
Available for pre-order.
Bruised. I like this bruised quite a bit. Looks good. They all look good.
I don't know. I've been experimenting with that Big Bite Bait trailer. I really like that one.
Is it the swim on?
Yeah.
Is that what they call it? Yeah. Got some chicky heads from Crusher Lures. Iowa, new Tatula.
Smaller versions.
Man, I like the Tatula. I
one.
got 3 of them now, and I really like them. They got they're real powerful feeling.
They're solid.
They're solid, yeah.
Everything's tight on them. Who is it? Is it Trey? Yeah. I was talking to Trey Harple. And basically it was Daiwa Shimano was like 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to solid.
That was Trey's opinion.
Yep.
You would know.
Yeah,
Dobbins gone.
He's worked on them all, seen them all. I know my biggest thing was when I tore into, and I won't mention brands, but when I tore into reels is when you start noticing that a lot of them have the exact same components throughout the entire reel. Maybe in a different shape but it's all built the same, every one of them. But when I broke into the Shimanos, they seemed to be a little bit better built on the inside.
See, Gamba came out with a chunk, the bacon rind. Wow, that's an old school bait, bacon rind. It's making a comeback. Wasn't there was a bacon rind years ago, basil bacon, right?
Yeah,
that was a Gamba bait.
Yeah. You guys remember the old water dog thing that had the red plastic gills on it?
I do. Yeah.
What was it called? A water dog?
I don't know. That was a long time ago. I remember seeing them. I don't know that I ever owned any of them.
That was high school for me. They bit that thing. That was a great bait on Egypt back in the 80s. I don't know what happened to it. I haven't seen one of those in years. That one gambler thing reminded me of it.
Andy said Fluke Master's using 13 Fishing.
They got some wild colors out there on all their stuff.
The B-lat shaky head. That's right.
What Hammy say?
He said bacon. That's basically pork, right?
Yeah.
I always wanted to check this thing out.
The G-Crack?
G-Crack, Baobab, Hog.
That's a mouthful.
Creature. That is a mouthful.
You don't want to have to say that up when you're trying to talk about it on stage.
That's really interesting.
Hey, while we're talking about lures, is that June's spinnerbait? Can you buy that from the States yet?
I don't think, June, if you're on here, give us an update on your web store if you're getting close to getting that up and running.
Because if you can, expect a phone call.
Yes.
I remember him showing that, and I was just like, oh my God, that's perfect.
Yeah. Let me go grab that real quick. I'll show you guys that. It's going to be out Wednesday in a video.
Look
at that thing, man.
Yeah. Go grab that.
Honey nugget. What the heck is that?
Honey nugget. This one is, I was looking at this one before we came on. It's like a crawdad, bluegill imitation. Think you can rig it, Texas rig? It says a free rig. Have you experimented anything with a free rig, Ron?
I have not. I have not.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about it.
It's
interesting. It's an interesting concept.
I don't know. That one looks fun. Thinking shallow flipping on beds.
How big is that? 3 and 3.5?
Yep. Yeah, that one looks. Almost need one in like a white though. If you're gonna flip on beds.
Be a good post bomb bait too. When you get around them bluegill beds, you know what I mean?
Heck yeah. You bring it.
Really turn that sideways. I guess you could set it up to where the hook point came out the side of it.
Yeah,
it's a pretty big bait.
It's got a good price on it though. I mean, I don't know how many came in a pack, unless it's for one. Let's see. I mean, 5 baits for $6. That's not bad for something like that.
No, these days it's not bad.
I spent a lot more on a lot worse. Cast King. I don't really know anything about Cast King. Sent who's with Cast King?
Oh gosh.
Can't remember that. I can see him, I just can't put his name up.
I'll stick with Lose or Daiwa, in my opinion.
You got something to show?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So these are called the Treasure Hunt spinner baits from June.
Treasure Hunt.
Yeah. And they have a real cool head design. And you're going to see that I got a video coming out Wednesday, and you're going to see this sucker in action and talk a little bit about the bait.
Thank you, Seth. Brent Chapman.
So this head design, it's very interesting. It's going to be hard to kind of show this, but
well, thank you, June.
All the wet, it's very interesting. There's nothing like it, and it comes through grass really well.
That is so well designed.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's different. It's totally different. And it's got, you can see where the wire comes out of the bottom of the head. It doesn't come out of the nose like most spinner baits. It might be hard to see, but that wire comes out off the bottom. And I think that helps it come through grass even better. I was throwing it through wood the other day, like some treetops and stuff, and it does a good job in that. And it's kind of, it's almost a long arm. I'd say it's pretty close to a long arm, which I like a long arm spinner bait with the big thumper blade on it. Seems to just, I don't know, maybe it's just confidence, but I think it just works better for me personally.
Well, I tell you, and I like it on the thumper too. On a too short of a blade on the thumper, it will get hung up on the hook, and you have to sometimes snap the rod to get the blade going. But that little bit longer arm on the thumper will avoid that problem.
Yeah, and I think it tends to run a little better too. It doesn't want to roll out as bad.
Yeah,
that's
that's definitely hard to see on camera. But what you're saying about where it comes out at, I mean, that's just, it's not gonna ball up, or that grass isn't gonna get that built up on where the wire and the lead comes together. So
yeah, so interesting baits. He's got a bunch of good colors. The color that I did my damage with the other day is the old chartreuse and white. But I think he's got a size 7 maybe on there, maybe 8. It's a pretty big thumper, but good action, cast good. Anyway, but hopefully he'll have that website up and running sometime, so you guys can check those out. You can go look at them on his website, Dream Express Lures. Dream Express Lures. Yeah, Hellbass says I need to reset my router. I did it the other day. I just need to get a new router. This is probably like the 4th live stream I've mentioned that. Yeah, Mike, they're pretty sweet, especially if you got, like right now, a lot of our water is stained, heavily stained. That big thumper blade up shallow right now is probably one of the best baits you can throw. There's similar baits out there for sure, but it's a little bit different.
I think the wire is a lot stouter than
it's a thicker wire, but it's still got plenty of thump. So if you get that wire too thick, it's super durable. I mean, you're not going to break it, but if you get it too thick, there's that vibration.
There's kind of a happy medium. Yeah. But you're right. That spinnerbait is fantastic. I tell you, when I really like that spinnerbait, we get all these high water periods in this, right now. Of course, that watercolor and fish position is dictating a lot, it's throwing that. But what happens is that water comes up and then it starts to go down. On Cedar, not as fast because the spillway is so small, but on Egypt and Kincaid, Grassy, DK, it adjusts pretty quickly. And then what happens is, when the water's high, you got a little bit of water over the top of those weeds. But then as the water backs out, especially over the water willow, it's much harder to get a bait through that once that water comes back down. But that big spinnerbait will work through all of that, and it gets to a point where it's a lot more efficient than doing it with the chatterbait or whatever.
Yeah, I would agree, 100%. So what's going on? What's going on over at Egypt, man? I haven't been over there in quite a while.
Yeah, I had our first Angler's Choice of the year Saturday, and as expected, the top half it was kind of a have and have nots. The top half of the field caught them pretty good. The bottom half didn't. But in general, the fish were caught pretty well. We finished 12th out of 60 boats. We had 11 and a half and 15 pounds won, but there was 3 15-pound bags.
Dang.
Tygo and Burner won. Those guys are as good as there is in Southern Illinois. So my hat's off to those guys. And I think that's 2 in a row for them. I think Boo and Tygo won the week before that SIU deal. So, but basically everyone in the top 10 had a 4 or 5 pounder. There was 1 6-pounder caught, which is really good for Lake of Egypt. So I was really happy to see that. And then the bottom half of the field struggled a little bit. That was probably more decision making than, trying to maybe do something different maybe. But what was nice is with that 60 boats, how crowded Egypt can be is, this time of year, the fish naturally spread out. So the boats were spread out. So it really didn't feel too crowded fishing, and I think we caught 7 overs on Saturday and culled a couple times. But we just didn't get the bigger bite. But we had a decent tournament. Didn't lose any fish. Just stayed shallow all day. It's that time of year.
What kind of water temps were you seeing over there?
Water temps basically about the same as Cedar. Low 50s was basically, if you get in a warm pocket, it would be warmer, if the wind was blowing in there. But it was basically low 50s. It's kind of gotten to the point where it's warm enough you don't have to look for the warm water anymore. Does that make, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You kind of early in the spring, you're looking for that one little isolated section of warm water. It's kind of gotten to the point you don't have to really pay attention to the temperature gauge anymore, quite frankly. I probably won't worry about that again till then you'll start getting areas where the fish start to bed up, and maybe I like to try and stay on pre-spawn fish when I can. Then you look for the colder water, but water temperature really was not a factor, and you just had to find the fish. If you found them, you could catch them.
Were you finding? Did you fish the backs of creeks, or are you seeing a migration yet? Are you finding? Do you think the early pre-spawn thing is starting to happen?
I don't. It's sporadic. You'll catch. Well, one thing I can tell you is if you get a bite, don't go anywhere. You need to kind of work in that area a little bit if you get a bite, because they're kind of up in little groups. My impression was the shallow fish we caught were fish that have probably been shallow all winter. I don't think the big push has happened. Can't be very far from it, but my impression was the fish we caught shallow were fish that had been shallow for the most part. And it just, I honestly felt the same way at Cedar when I was down there. Caught a few fish, but I just didn't think that the big move had happened yet. If it had, they were staring at my lure, not biting. But it's kind of that time of year. If you have the day off and can go fishing, you need to go fishing, because it's starting to happen. I think the longer days are really starting to make an effect on the fish. And once they start moving up, they don't swim back to the creek channel. I mean, once they start moving up, they're going to, they might back up a little bit on a cold front or get tired of cover or whatever, but they're not going anywhere. So you get a day off, you need to go fishing. I know there was a 7 caught on, not letting out any secret here, it was on Facebook. There was a 7 caught on grassy and a club fish off. Like I said, there was a 6 over here at Egypt. I've heard multiple stories of, nice fish at Cedar. So it's happening, and all this rain we keep getting is just going to keep pushing those fish shallow.
I saw that picture, the fish that Hammy caught.
With
the tail that was a little bit roughed up, maybe. That was interesting.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know what to think about that. Yeah. I don't think we're there yet.
No.
Now, I know fish. I guarantee fish spawn sooner than I think they do. You hear that? The pros say the same thing. They'll say 40, 54, 55. Some will start to go if conditions are right. But I don't think we're there yet at Cedar.
I don't think so either. But
that was just a rogue fish, maybe. But
my eyes were open.
Bloody tail.
Yeah, my eyes were opened a handful of years ago. It was about this time of the year, and water temperatures just started to creep up into the 50s, and came off of a cold snap. And every fish that we caught had a bloody tail. It's like, huh, okay. So I think a lot of it, like you said, it's not. I don't think it's so dependent on water temperature as it is on the photo period.
Yeah,
Well,
photo
and
and the conditions, the water going up and down too much, or I just don't think it's been stable enough for a fish to spawn. If the water were 70 degrees, I don't think it's been stable enough yet for a fish to really get too serious about it.
well, if they're spawning, they're going to be spawning super shallow because of that stained water.
Oh,
and here's another, another thing is we don't really get up. Our trolling motor sticks 2 feet below the boat, basically. So we're not getting a temperature reading that last 5 feet off the bank, basically.
Right.
And that's the shallowest water that's going to warm up. So you could be sitting, 15 feet off the bank fishing, pitching and stuff, and your transducer's reading 52. But if you actually got up there in a foot of water, it could be 56,
Right. Especially
easily.
if a wind's blowing in there.
Yeah. So there can be a huge temperature range right there, which with the water being that dirty, and those fish, maybe some of them will slide up and spawn in a foot of water. I mean, it's right there.
I'd be curious, Hammy, if that was next to a laydown or some sort of piece of wood, because usually wood's going to hold that heat a lot longer too. So,
and exactly what you caught it on too would be good information.
And a GPS coordinate.
Yeah. And the color.
I think I just heard Hammy click off.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, we just lost one. That was it. He's gone.
You're at 79. Now you're at 78.
I don't think I've ever seen him with a bait in the mouth of a fish.
Oh, no.
On Facebook, which is cool. Nothing but
and
love.
I'm betting he's like turns completely around and shows the opposite bank. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So,
right. A lot of open
I know
water.
Hammy pretty well. He's not stupid. His dad is his dad Mike and I kind of grew up fishing together. Not so much together, but we were part of the old Jay Zapp cronies. And anytime Jay Zapp needed a brush pile, Mike and I would get an invite to go fishing, but it was really just to set brush. And so I've known Mike's dad for years, and Hunter's dad, Mike, for years. And Mike's a really, really good dude, and so is Hunter. Hunter's a damn good fisherman.
Breaking news, Ron. This has got to be the truth too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Devil's fishing on a buzzbait.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Wait, hold on. They don't grow 5 and 6 pounders at DK. It's either 10 or 12 inches.
Yeah, 12 inches or 8.5 pounds or something.
Yeah. A little bit of truth to that. Yeah.
Dennis has a question we can dive into. He says, reference stick baits. What water clarity is minimum for a stick bait? Pyramid was muddy and 41 to 43 degrees last Wednesday. Ron, what's your thoughts on that, buddy?
Well, in listening, I tell you, I listened to Matt Pangrac talk about stick baits on Grand. Grand is typically got dirtier water, and they were talking about throwing jerk baits in muddy water, and then letting it sit there. And I mean, they hit other lures, so why wouldn't they hit a jerkbait? I mean, they got to hit something, right?
Well, they're gonna feel the rattles and the vibration of that bait, just like they are anything else.
Yeah, I think if the fish is in the right position for a jerkbait to be effective, even if the water is muddy, I mean, I wouldn't be afraid to try it. It's like that new Stunna, which I like. I think that's a good jerkbait. Hank Cherry's got that bright red colored one.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a couple of them, and I haven't experimented with it in the really muddy water. But here's what I think could happen with that in watercolor. I kind of like to really pay attention to little changes in watercolor on the same bank I'm fishing. And anytime you have a weed line, there's usually like a little, no matter how muddy it is, there's usually a little section in that. Those weeds are a filter. And a lot of times, but yeah, that right there. And there'll be like a little sliver like of clearer water. Sometimes it's right on the bank. Sometimes it's on the inside edge, whatever. And a lot of times that's where the fish will be positioned. They use that kind of water transition to set up in, and there's no reason a jerkbait couldn't catch those fish. So,
well, elaborate on that a little bit, Ron. You talk about different water clarity within maybe a pocket. What are your thoughts of water clarity in the water column?
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's one of the great things about the new electronics. You can see it.
Yeah,
you can see that mud line on that clutter line on your graph. A lot of times you get a big rain, it's just the top 10 feet or whatever it is that's muddy, and then below it it's clear.
You get that
see that all the
112
time.
plus down there, and you're below all that mud.
Yeah, and you're in the clear water, and a lot of times you'll see the fish sitting right below that clutter line. So yeah, that transition of watercolor, whether it's vertical or horizontal or whatever, that's a place that they usually set up on.
I would have to tend to agree. I think we as fishermen think that if we can't see, they can't see, but they have a lot better senses than we do when it comes to vision in water and the feel of what's in the water with them. So
was it Dion? Maybe it wasn't Dion. I can't. One of your live streams, one of the guys was saying those bass they thought could see 5 times in the water compared to us looking in the water, could see 5 times better than we could.
That was Menendez.
I think that's what somebody. Was that who?
That was Menendez, Mark Menendez. Yeah.
Okay, I knew someone said something about that.
Yeah, he was saying so 5 feet right, 5 feet left, 5 feet up, 5 feet down. They can see 5 times better than we are. And when they're acclimated, we show up at the lake and we see muddy water and it looks super muddy to us. But if it's been muddy for 3 or 4 or 5 days, those fish have been acclimated to it. And
that's 100% correct. Yep.
Yeah. So I was trying to run down that red. I heard you talk about that Berkeley Stunna and that red color.
See, we got this beautiful.
Oh, there. Yeah.
We already pulled it up.
Yeah, I couldn't find it. I've got it in my boat somewhere. But some of the colors that have really been good for me over the years in that stained water is something that's kind of gold and chrome with a black back. This is like a KVD jerkbait. If you can see that. So it's got flash. You get a lot of flash. A white or an orange belly, I think, is key. But it's also got that dark back. So it's got a good profile that stands out. But I think that flash, the orange bellied Rogue, with the gold and the black back is a time tested color in that stained water. But this is a really good color. The Mega Bass, if you want to spend a little bit more money, Vision 110 and the Western Clown is an excellent. My hands aren't big enough to show that off, but it's got that red head. It's got the chartreuse on the back, chrome sides. Can you go full screen on me? Or are you just going to show it?
I was just going to show it.
Oh,
you can continue to hold it up and talk about it.
White belly. This is a really good one. And the keys that usually is to fish it really slow. I found that you kind of want it suspending, sitting there. It gives that fish time to find it. But something with a little bit of flash is key. And this French Pearl is another good one. So
I agree. That was one I was getting ready to say. Yeah. Yeah.
This one stands out really good. But something about that, that chartreuse, that orange belly, I think is a really good ideal in that stained water. But I would just keep it simple. You can still catch them. Sometimes that's what they want. Sometimes they don't want something moving. I mean, I always lean towards, even in 41 to 43 degree water, that spinnerbait like we were just showing you, something with a big thump or slow rolling it through there can get you some bites. But sometimes they won't hit that for whatever reason. Sometimes they want something, jerk it, make a little noise, and just let it sit. You're going to have to let it sit a little bit longer than you would if the water was clear. But you can still catch them. You can definitely still catch them. Sometimes that's the only way you can catch them in stained water, because they just won't grab anything that's moving. They want something sitting in their face.
Yeah. And then the other thing I would add, one thing I'm trying to get better at is, I was always traditionally, it's cold out, you throw the jerkbait in the winter, and then you put it down and you don't throw it anymore. Well, you watch these Elite Series guys, you can't watch coverage of any tournament. Someone's throwing a jerkbait somewhere. I mean, I don't care what time of year it is.
Well, what does it imitate?
Bait fish.
What do fish
Yeah.
eat? Bait fish.
All the time.
Exactly. Exactly. And it imitates them about as well as anything.
Hammy makes a
Oh, no,
makes a
Hammy.
really, really, really valid point.
Yeah, actually they can. If I can see at 2 a.m. with no moon, they can.
Yeah, and if you can see at that point, they can see in muddy water.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely-
Yeah.
Phil said he caught his biggest bass, 8 pounds, 14 ounces, filthy, muddy water with a jerk bait.
Yeah.
Water temps are reading 48 to 50, for example. Does anyone really know what the temp 4 foot down is? Would that affect spawn? For sure, I think it would.
Yeah.
And then to that, go ahead, Ron.
I was just going to say to Stephanie that one of the things to pay attention in the spring is when it first starts to warm up. If you have some calm days, that you'll get that thin layer of warm water that your depth finder reads, and it's kind of misleading. But it's after you've had a lot of wind that really mixes that water up. Then when you see a temperature reading on the surface of whatever, 48 to 50, that's probably more meaningful than 48 to 50 earlier in the spring, because that water temperature is probably driven down, to where those fish live. An old legend here named Bob Bush, probably one of the best outdoorsmen, not just fishermen, but best outdoorsmen that Southern Illinois has ever had. He was Fred Washburn's partner. And he had this little boat he called the Pickle, this little green fiberglass thing he'd go down a little grassy on. I'd always run into him at the ramp, and he always had a thermometer, but he wasn't reading the surface temperature. It was like one of those thermocline things. And he'd drop it down, and he'd read it at a foot. And then he'd drop it down, and he would read it at 2 foot. And he would read the water temperature. He did that in the summer too, looking for the thermocline. And he was just figuring out what the water temperature was down where he thought he was going to fish. And pretty smart.
Yeah, when we had Sean Hurst on there, I was asking him about that, how much of a temperature variance there is at the thermocline versus the surface temp. And he said not a whole lot generally. And he sent me a chart. He emailed me a chart. This has been several months ago, but there was quite a bit of a difference. I mean, surface temps might have been 90, and it was like low 80s, down there at the thermocline. So I need to pull that back up. But it was an interesting chart. They did different depths, and I think this was on Kincaid. I think that's the lake where they did the test at on the thermocline. But it's enough to where that fish really does want to be there if the water quality is good.
Well, a lot of times that thermocline is more about the oxygen content in the water versus the water temperature.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But this time of year, you can, if you drop it down 3 or 4 feet, you can kind of get an idea of, how far along you are.
for sure.
Yep.
We miss anything up there?
I think so. I think we're caught up on questions. So what do you got coming up, Ron, as far as tournaments, trips, that kind of stuff?
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Every weekend, it's that time of year. And Dale and I have decided to get into Angler's Choice at Cedar also. So we're fishing Angler's Choice at Cedar and at Egypt. And so it's nuts. And then I think we got a tournament. Well, we just had one. Next weekend we're off, and I think that's our last weekend off. And then we go Angler's Choice, and then we have Angler's. We go on a Saturday Angler's Choice at Egypt, Sunday Angler's Choice at Cedar, or vice versa. And then it's just like that every week after that. And then we go to Grand in the middle of April, and when we get back from Grand, there's 2 four-mans on Egypt. So it's going to be, it's just rapid fire now at $5 a gallon.
At $5 a gallon.
Yeah. And it's
It
not
may
going to
not
go
be as
down.
rapid fire as I may be fishing closer to the ramp.
We may all be fishing out of kayaks before the summer's over.
Yeah, Ike and Ellie's got it figured out.
No kidding.
Do you think that'll have any effect on the guys that fish English Choice over there?
The price of gas?
Yeah.
It didn't this last week. I don't think it's really hit yet. I mean, the gas prices have gone up and they're going to go up more, but I don't think guys have changed their behavior yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to keep fishing. I may pre-fish more out of my John boat at Egypt instead of taking my big boat down there. I got the same electronics on the John boat. I can go down there and pre-fish in that, and it doesn't matter. The lake's not that big. I'll probably eat a few less bologna sandwiches before I cut back on my fishing. Maybe cut back on the adult beverages or something. But we'll see. It's not going to help. That's for sure. It's not going to help.
Well, I mean, everybody's fired up and gung ho. They got cabin fever. It's been, cold, and it's going to take more than the gas prices to stop people, at least for the first month.
I guess if they're going to raise gas prices, this is the time of the year to do it for outdoorsmen, because we all have been cooped up for the last couple months, and we're just ready to
get out there
to get down.
Yeah, if it was the middle of summer when fishing starts to slow down, I think a lot of people would just kind of park it till fall.
Stephanie says it might slow down pleasure boaters.
That's a good thing. Raise it to $6 a gallon.
I don't know if I want the pleasure boaters to slow down, though. I'd rather have them run across the lake at full bore than island out there throwing that 6-footer.
Yeah, no kidding. SIU bass team has a fundraiser tournament on Egypt this Sunday.
Yeah, and I fished the last one 2 weeks ago, I guess it was. And I fished that with Hammy, and we had a good time. I think we finished 5th out of 35 boats, I think, or 6th. I can't remember. Anyway, that SIU, they do a good job with that. They take pictures of everybody with your fish. They got a little banner you stand in front of. You take pictures, and then they message you the pictures too, which was pretty cool. The only thing I wish SIU would have done, and if one of those guys are listening, post the results of the tournament. I never did see the results of the tournament, and that'll help them get more people in it. But they put on a good tournament. They ran it. They were consistent, and they put some effort into it. And if anyone wants to go support, I think they paid out 60%, and at least on the last one, and then 40% went back to the SIU fishing team. So it's a good cause. Good cause. I hate that Egypt gets all the pressure, but
that's close to home for them, and
it's and with the situation at Kincaid now with the state tax thing, they avoid that tax thing by going to Egypt. So I get it.
Now, are all of the English Choice and Cedar out of Pomona this year?
There's one of them's out of Carbondale.
Now, will that won't matter on the state tax, right?
No, it's because it's city ramp or Forest Service ramp. So either one doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you could put a tournament on at a Johnson Creek, right, on Kincaid?
I believe technically you could.
If they allow the permit.
Forest Service ramp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you would still have to get that permit approved.
Right. I mean, it'd be a cluster to put a big boat tournament out of there, but John boat tournament.
I don't know.
I don't know when
during COVID, when they shut down the main ramp up there, man, it was a cluster down there anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was. What was that?
I'm sure. I've never put in down there, but the thing I noticed last time I fished back there was, I know they did some dredging, didn't they? Back there? No.
Yeah, they did, but it's such a small window that you got to shoot out of there. I mean,
yeah,
you
'cause
run
it
side
was,
scan out there, you can see all the trails of lower units that have drug the ground.
oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause I know I got within like 100 yards of it fishing, and it was shallow. It was really shallow.
There's one good channel, and you got to pick out the right tree or the picnic table or something that sits on the opposite bank and run it until you think you need to run it some more, and then run it some more, and then you can turn
Yeah.
out of it. Because I'll kick it up in a John boat, kick up mud.
You got to hug that left bank coming out.
Yep.
Coming out of the boat ramp down there. You stay left. It looks like you need to run across over there to the right, but that's just a big shallow flat. And you can still idle across it. There's a few stumps out there but if you're just idling, you'll be fine. But you kind of hang to the left. That's where the creek channel runs. And then you get to that point, and then it just kind of shoots straight across that little cove there.
Okay.
Yeah, Hella Bass says gas prices are so high, he sold his bass boat, but he's buying another one, so it didn't deter him too much. It's a big mystery.
Has he done his boat reveal yet?
No, he's holding out, man. He's milking it.
Oh.
I think he got another cat.
I think he's going with an Express
10 boat. I told him he's going to go 10.
Not a bad idea with the price of gas.
Those Crestliners, good God, the front deck on those things, it's
huge.
Yeah, have you seen how much room is on either side of John Cox when he's fishing?
It's unbelievable. Somebody was saying you could put like an 8-foot rod all the way across the inside of the boat. Yeah.
It's unreal.
It's a barge.
Do those still set up really, really high, though?
I don't know. I've never fished in one.
They just look like they'd be a sail out there in the wind.
Well, he's got a Vexus, so he's used to sitting up pretty high. Vexus sits up pretty high.
Yeah. My Vexus blows around a little bit. I mean, for a glass boat, my Ranger blew around less.
Okay.
But you know how it is with the boat. It doesn't matter. One feature is an advantage, but it leads to not doing so well in another area. So it's always a trade-off.
Yeah, do not fall in Ron's storage compartments because you may not find your way back out. They're
You
very
may
deep.
still be in there.
Are they that
Put
deep?
a ladder down there.
They're pretty deep, man. They're pretty deep.
Yeah.
You can I could stand my backpack like vertical.
Really?
No problem. With the plastic thing on the bottom.
Really?
Yeah, they're pretty deep. Dennis says, "What tax are you talking about? Explain." Ron, you want to break that down? The
best tax? I can. The wonderful state of Illinois and the Department of Conservation, or not the DNR, they are tax a 10% tax on all tournaments. I may have this wrong, but I think it's 20 boats and more. If you put in at a state-run boat ramp, 10% of all the money collected by the tournament director has to be sent to the state. That includes 50-50 money, any sales you would have at a tournament, anything. 10% of the money taken in by the tournament director off the top goes to the state.
Does that include side pots as well?
Yeah, it's whatever. So if the tournament director collects, $2,000, irregardless of how he collected that, 10% of that goes to the state. Naturally, guys aren't happy about it. So there's a bill now. I don't know the progress of it. They are trying to refute that tax. I don't know if they're going to have any luck in that. My personal view on it, obviously I don't like it, but I don't want tournament circuits to quit over it, because you got 50 grand racked up in a bass boat and God knows what in a truck. 10% of a $100 entry fee is $10. What's a bag of plastic worms? I'm not going to quit tournament fishing over a bag of plastic worms. So if we have to pay the tax, we have to pay the tax. I just don't want to see the tournament circuits leave lakes or quit divisions, because in the end that hurts the fishermen. It doesn't help the fishermen, and it hurts the local economy too. And I know several divisions that have pulled the plug. They're not having the angler's choice at Kincaid or Newton, and I'm sure there's more that I don't know about, but I just think that's a little my personal opinion. I'm a big fan of Rick Burns. He's a good voice for the fishermen, but I just thought that was a mistake, that was not in our best interest as fishermen. So I hope the bill goes through and it nixes the tax and everything just get back to normal.
Yeah, I'm sure bigger tournament organizations like Major League Fishing, they have the Illini division and the BFLs. They're really going to be paying out some money. They're losing a lot of money.
God.
So I'm sure they're complaining and moaning about it.
Yeah, unless you can, now some of the lakes you can launch. I know on Ren, they're launching some of the events out of some of the core ramps. And by doing out of it a federal ramp, you get around that tax. It's only if you launch at a state facility. That's why there's no fee at Egypt. It's a private. Those are private. There's no fee at Cedar because that's either a city ramp or a federal ramp, and so on. So some of that they'll be able to get around it. You know, Shelbyville, I don't know if that's a core lake. Rend is. I think Carlisle is. So there'll be some games played to some degree with that, but in the end, I don't want to see opportunities taken away for fishermen because of the cost of a bag of worms at the end of the day.
Yeah, we spend a lot more on tackle than that, like you said, Ron, just to go fish the Wednesday night jackpot. I mean,
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, all the benefits of just being with your buddies and the competition, and it's everything that we love, and I don't want to lose that over $10, basically a tournament.
Right.
It's not, you know, it's not worth it to me for that.
Yeah, it's just as much a principle thing, I think, for a lot of these guys as the $10.
Yeah, and I understand getting pissed at the state. I mean, I'm right there in line. I don't like it, and I'm not happy about it. And but we voted those guys into office, so maybe we need to vote differently.
Well, you guys did. We didn't. Missouri,
Well, yeah.
Missouri's still, still tournaments.
You know what I mean. Jim Duncan, I will. I got to come to Missouri to get some of those June spinner baits.
That's right. You almost made it to Clearwater this year. You thought about it really hard.
Yeah, and then the lake went up like 30 feet or whatever, 20 feet.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, fees went up $10. No problem with that.
Well,
yeah, they had to. They had
there's a point to that, but it's still 10% of the new $10. So
right, they just rose the fees so that they could. And George Daly was George Daly's doing a really good job running the USA Bassin events at Kincaid and at Super Lake, I think. So shout out to George for not caving to the state and still running the tournaments. And George does a good job. He worked good. I would encourage anybody to support George Daly and his USA Bassin tournaments.
Unpopular opinion on this one, Nicholas. Shouldn't be fishing. If you're struggling to pay just to fish, don't get in a tournament. Just go fishing. Yeah.
Well, hey, and you know what? I get it.
$10 is $10. Yeah, but you're right.
I get it. I'm not. I hate it that the world is what it is. I get that opinion. I don't begrudge that at all. And but if a guy doesn't want to fish because of that, I understand. That $10 may need to go to baby formula.
Right.
And I've been there. I've been that guy. So I get it. But I don't want the tax to just take away the opportunity for everybody.
Right.
I don't want to see the leadership in the tournament organizations, just throw in the towel, and because that just hurts everybody.
Now, you guys had a extremely high trailer plate hike last year, the year before.
Yeah, another Illinois story. Yeah, I gotta go pay mine. I think mine's due next month. Thanks for reminding me, Gabe.
We don't want you to get a ticket.
Yeah, we're just looking out for you, brother.
Thanks. The ticket's probably cheaper than the sticker.
I think it is. I think that's. I heard
I
a
don't
bunch
know.
of people weren't even tagging their trailer, just taking a chance on that because it was the same
just
price.
pay the ticket.
Well, there was a bunch of guys last year that got tickets over there at Cedar, like all in one day, and it was April. Everybody's first nice day in April. They were at the boat ramp. Anybody?
And their sticker was due in March or something.
Yeah, it was out of date tags. It was
Who was down there writing tickets for that? Was that the DNR?
I guess I have no idea. I just heard through the grapevine that somebody was down there writing tickets, and then the rumor was that they were writing tickets.
Googly woogly.
Folks parking off of the road.
Yeah,
and I didn't see that one. That one probably wouldn't stand up if anybody fought that, because I mean, where else are you going to park at?
It's a small ramp.
Yeah, it's a small parking lot. It's not really. I wish they'd redo that. They could use that space a little better.
Not to get on a negative tangent at the end of the show here, but if people would just learn how to park their damn boat trailers, it'd be a lot better too.
Amen.
Squeeze a few more in there.
I think if they would just, all follow the lines and follow the leader, and whoever's the first one there, just, we talk about a get together. Maybe that's what we should have, as a clinic on how to park your boat trailer at Cedar Lake at Pomona Inn.
They're going to have to redo that boat ramp too pretty soon.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's getting some potholes in it. What are the tax dollars going to, Ron? Any idea? Is it going just to the DNR for the lake that's collected?
If I understand it right, it's to go back into the resource to, maintain the facilities. And if that's the case, I'm actually okay with it.
Yeah.
But then I don't know that this is true. So don't say that you heard Ron say this as gospel, because I don't know. But I've heard, unfortunately, that whatever additional revenue they raise, so let's just say they, throw out a figure, $1,000. And let's say they raise an extra 500 from this at a boat ramp. Instead of them keeping that $500 to go into the facilities, that's actually 500 less than that they get from the general fund. So in the end, it's a wash. But basically the general fund is absorbing the money. Now, I don't know that's fact, but that's what I've heard. And I hope it goes, if we got to pay it, I want the money to go towards what it's supposed to go towards. So I don't know.
Agree 100%. I mean, like we just said, that parking lot there at Pomona, not that Pomona has a part of it, but if there's a bad parking lot somewhere, fix the parking lot. If the lake needs riprap around the outside to keep it from washing away, so future generations have a chance to fish there, take care of the riprap.
Yeah. And I don't mind paying for stuff like that. I mean, I want my grandson to have, a nice place to fish when it's his turn.
Right. The proof is in the pudding. We'll all see down the road what improvements are made at some of these lakes that result from the taxation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I agree 100%. So.
Sasquatch.
Just that quick, huh?
Let's go ahead and get it out there. Yeah. Let's get it out there.
It's going to get
everybody's paying attention. We're going to give away something. We're not giving away the big one because we didn't hit it. We didn't hit that 80. We were close. We were like 72, 73. We're teetering. But
we are men of our word.
We're going to do a giveaway. Next week, we're going to have Brian Stockel, BTC, Brian the Carpenter. And we're going to be talking aluminum boat builds. We'll talk fishing, I'm sure. Brian the Carpenter's with the Bash University, Galusic.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, all those guys. He's a Jersey guy.
You'll get your viewership then. You're getting penalized for me being on the show tonight. When you have a guy on that finished 12th, in the last tournament, you're not going to get a lot of viewers.
12 out of 14. That's me.
Yeah, it paid the same. It might as well have been.
You were swinging for the fences, right?
Hey, it's kind of like the Bassmasters Classic. Everybody but the winner is going to be pissed off at the end of the day that they didn't win because they're not fishing for points. They're only fishing for that $300,000 check. So
yeah,
that was an exciting event. Boy, Welcher, he stormed off the stage pretty quick after Christie won. I thought he'd stick, at least shake his hand or whatever, but a lot of emotions. I think he was thinking he had it. I thought he did too. But it's interesting because that was so close that nobody could have known. There's no way.
No.
But you can always tell if the guy comes up on stage, they give him a chance to give a shout out to all of his sponsors. Well, then you automatically know most likely the other guy that's standing up there won, because typically when it all goes down, the winner gets all the press right off the bat.
That was
a good classic. Really good classic.
Do either of you guys have a Sasquatch story?
I told mine on here.
Yeah, yours was in the duck hunting, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if it was Sasquatch or mountain lion or.
I don't have any. I've got some ghost stories that are
ghost stories.
Oh yeah,
for real? Oh, let's hear one while we're waiting on a number.
Let's see here.
We got one.
You got one?
Should have not said that. We went a while.
It's okay. We got a wiener.
Andy.
Repeat winner. I think Andy's won before. Write the name down.
Hey, same rules apply as last time. There's a lot of numbers that flow through here. They all show up at different times on y'all's side and our side. So if I missed it, I apologize. But that's the first one that I came to. So we're going to go with that one.
So, Andy, shoot me your shipping information again. I probably got it, but shoot it to me again. So, ghost story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I got several of them.
Hold on. Did it happen in this house?
No.
Okay, good.
Well, I have two things that happen in this house.
JB's getting freaked out.
Yeah, I am.
But it was upstairs.
Okay, good.
And it's moved on, so you're fine. But my dad lived in California, grew up in California, and he was a limousine driver. So I used to go out there every summer, probably until I was 15. I'd go out there for 3 weeks. Obviously, him and my mother were divorced, but she'd fly me out there and I'd stay with him for 3 weeks. And he was telling me leading up to this trip that he'd had some strange things happen in the house. So one morning he got up really early, like 2 or 3 a.m. and the oven was on like 220 degrees or something. He didn't think much about it. He thought, well, maybe I, was heating something up or was preheating the oven and forgot about it, which he didn't think he did. The next night, the same thing happened. It was on. So he started having this chain of little events going on. He got home late one night from, his limousine business, and the kitchen sink, the water was on full blast, on hot, just. So that was crazy. There was a couple other things like that, smaller things, but it wasn't one in particular thing that stood out, but it was the compilation of all of them that started adding up. And this is over a 2-week period prior to me going out there. So I'm hearing these stories.
How old were you?
I was just going to ask, how old are you?
I was 14 or 15.
Okay.
And another story was he had 2 dogs in the house. So there was a living room. There was like a mud room. So living room with a door, a mud room, and then an outside door and a fenced in yard, like a real tall block fenced yard. They had a couple horses back there.
Huh.
So one morning he gets up early in the morning and the dogs, they're inside dogs. the dogs were outside the house. He lets them in at night. The dogs were outside the house. He couldn't find them. And when he goes outside the house, he goes through the mud room, opens the door, they're out there, and they will not come into the mud room through the house. They won't come into that mud room. He had to take them outside and bring them into the front door. They were scared to death. Somehow those dogs got from the living room to the outside of the house. So he has no idea how that happened. There was one other guy that had access to the house. That guy wasn't over there. And so like a couple days before I flew out there, he had a buddy call him one evening and say, "Hey, I drove by your house the other day. I saw you looking out the house there. And I waved at you." And he's like, "It wasn't me." He's like, "Yeah, it was. I saw you there. There was a figure standing there looking out." He said, "No, I was chauffeuring that night. I wasn't there in between that whole evening, So there's that. Wow. I'm hearing all this stuff, right? Yeah. And I know the trip's coming up. So I'm kind of nervous. So I fly out there.
I'm kind of nervous sitting right next to you right now.
I'm you got me on the edge of my chair, buddy.
And this was New Year's night. I'd been there for like 2 or 3 days, and this was New Year's night, and he had a run. And I think it was like he started at like 8 and he wasn't going to get home till like 3 a.m. or something ridiculous. So he lived in Cypress, and Cypress is it's not the greatest area. It's okay, but there's a lot of gang activity. There's a lot of skinheads and stuff. So I was kind of just on edge about all that stuff going on. Southern California. So he leaves, and it's getting dark. So the first thing I did is figured out how loud I could turn up the radio. So I turned up the radio in the house. So I had lots of noise in the house. I remember looking out the window, and I see this group of skinheads going by, just blue jeans, white t-shirt, shaved heads in the dark, just going by. So it's getting eerie. It's getting eerie. So nothing happened. He finally gets home at like 2 a.m. And I had the radio up really loud because I didn't want to hear any kind of creaking or any popping or any kind of anything. So we go to bed. We're sleeping. I slept in his bed next to him, and we're laying down, and we're just starting to go to sleep. It's gotten real quiet, and you can hear coming down the hallway. He had the door shut. You can hear footsteps coming down the hallway. I'm not kidding you. We were both laying there. It was pitch black. We're both laying there. We're both awake. I didn't know he was awake. He didn't know I was awake. And we're totally still. And you can hear these footsteps coming, and they go right up to the door. And you're waiting for the door handle to turn. It's intense. And that was it. And we're silent for another minute or so. And then I'm like, "Did you hear that?" He's like, "Yeah, I heard that." That's my ghost story out there.
Dude, I believe I'd have moved.
Yeah. He was just staying in that house. It was a rental house. Okay, so here's the kicker. His backyard fenced in. There's a drainage ditch. On the other side of that drainage ditch is another fence, and then there's a graveyard. It's a big graveyard, and my great-grandmother is buried in that graveyard. I don't know if that's tied in, but that just makes it even creepier. So
maybe it's just great grandma coming to see you.
She may have been trying to bake you a pie and wash your hands, and
yeah, I don't know, but I just remember that night how scared I was being there.
You will be the great YouTuber.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she needs to visit me again. I got a long way to go.
Oh,
but that's my ghost story, man.
I got cool, actually.
As long as these curtains that you guys can't see in front of us don't start moving, because when they do, I'm gone.
Yeah. You're going to need a new co-host, Gabe.
Yeah, and probably a new couch too.
Be like Seinfeld, where they turn the cushion over.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh Lord. Well, congratulations, Andy.
We'll put you something together, and like I said earlier, next week we'll have BTC on here. We'll talk John boats, man, and whatever comes up.
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, it should be good. He's really did a lot. He's done a lot of John boat builds. He's into that whole John boat scene. And it should be good information for everybody. So make sure if you know anybody that's interested in John boats, you guys are interested in John boats, show up, ask questions, we can go really deep into that kind of stuff because all three of us on here have got a lot of experience with John boats. So it's going to be
and building John boats.
and building John boats. Yeah. Any kind of questions, that kind of stuff.
Great timing with the price of gas too. Great timing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I don't think that was planned, but
It just kind of happened.
I think he'll take credit for it. It was planned.
So, all right, we're going to shut this down. Ron, man, it was good hanging out with you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't talked a little bit. And when June sends you my spinner baits, don't be hogging all of them.
I'll shoot him a text, man. I'll shoot him a text. I'll make sure you
and
get
June,
one.
thank you if you're still on here.
All right, we're going to sign off.
All right, boys.
See you, Ron.
See you.
All right. See ya.